It's hard to pinpoint one exact moment. I mean, there was probably the saddest moment for me was when Mourinho was manager. I think I was 24. And I remember there was one session, like one morning I woke up, I had to go train, and this is when he'd stopped playing me. And I was in a bad place, and I remember just looking in the mirror. I mean, it sounds dramatic, but I was literally staring in the mirror. And I was asking if I could retire now. At 24, you know, doing the thing I love. For me, that was heartbreaking. To even have had that thought at 24 to want to retire, that hurt me a lot. That was another thing that I had to carry. I mean, that period, yeah, I was partying a lot. I was having a lot of parties. Just, I mean, the reality of what they say is not the reality. I think they was calling me a party boy and all this before, you know, I was doing any of this. So I think people's perception of me was a lot different to the reality of what I was living. And then it got to a point where that happened and I was in a bad place. A lot of things have built up. I think, you know, we all have emotions, and we think the best thing to do sometimes is to just stuff them down and hide them and lock them away. But over time, they just build up, and it gets to a point where we're human, and it breaks and it all comes out. And I turned to all the wrong things. Like, I don't blame Mourinho. I don't blame anyone, you know. My reaction to that wasn't right, but it wasn't something I had control over. Something I haven't really spoke about that much, to be honest. I mean, I think there was a few incidents that can give you kind of a brief understanding. So at 6, I was molested by my mum's friend who was at the house a lot. So my mum was an alcoholic. And then... Sorry.
You don't be sorry.
Yeah, so that happened at 6. And then I was sent to Africa to learn discipline. And then I was sent back. 7, I started smoking. 8, I started dealing drugs.
Selling drugs?
Selling drugs, yeah. An older person told me that they wouldn't stop a kid on a bike, so I'd ride around with my football, and then underneath I'd have the drugs, and yeah. And so that was 8. 11, I was hung off a bridge.
By who?
A guy from the next estate, a man. And then, yeah, 12, I was adopted, so. And from then, it was like, I was adopted by an amazing family, like I said. I couldn't have asked for better people to do what they'd done for me. I mean, if God created people, it was them, you know. They were amazing, and they've helped me a lot. And that was another thing, you know. When I started living with them, it was hard for me to really open up to them because it was easy. I felt within myself, you know, it was easy for them to get rid of me again. So yeah, I tried to be the best kid I could be for them. Yeah, I stayed with them from 12 and then started playing first team professionally at 16, and then it all sort of took off from there. It definitely impacted me. I think Poch I couldn't have asked for a better manager at the time I was in. Him and his team, you know, not just him, there was Jesus and Miguel and Tony. They are amazing people, and they're so understanding, and it wasn't like a footballer and a manager relationship. It was deeper than that, I felt. And that was what I needed.
What was he like with
time.
you? Just give me some specific examples of how he was with you, Maurizio.
He was just so understanding of the decisions I was making, and he was guiding, like, he cared about me as a person before the football, which is what I needed at that time. And I think that's important for young players. I think when you go somewhere, it can be quite scary, I think. And I never had that fear of, you know, trying to prove myself in that sense, because I felt like he was giving me the platform to express myself the best I could and be comfortable. I mean, players always used to say I want to be like, that I was fearless. I wasn't fearless, I was just brave. I think there's a big difference, because I was scared of things. But I think being brave, you feel the fear still, but you still do it. And I think that's something that he allowed me to do. I'm glad you asked me about that. So that lazy comment, people all love to bring that up. That interview, obviously, I was on the Amazon. He called me lazy. That was the day after recovery day. A week later, he apologized to me for calling me lazy because he'd seen me actually train and play. But that wasn't in the documentary, and no one spoke up about that because
So
it was only me
Josie
and him.
apologised for calling you lazy in the team meeting.
Not in the team meeting, he called me lazy. But then one-on-one, I think it was on the pitch, he apologised for it. And I didn't think anything of it at the time because I know in myself I'm not lazy.